Hello, my dear students, and welcome to today's lesson. I would like to start by reminding you to please make sure that you're being seated in a very quiet place. 1. 2. Please make sure that you have your materials along with you, meaning your class book, your notebook, your workbook, and your stationery stuff, along with your dictionary. That being said, let's start the lesson. Grade 10, English 802, Unit 6, Lesson 6.7. Our lesson today is about writing, mainly write a narrative paragraph. The objectives of today's lessons are going to be to identify the narrative writing, apply the layout and the structure for the narrative writing, write a narrative paragraph. So now let's think together. What is a narrative paragraph? What do we mean by a narrative paragraph? Think. Narrative paragraphs tells a story or an event of a person's life. It could be in a form of a tale or a novel, discussing one's life and social events. The story or events in a narrative paragraph should be arranged in a chronological order, meaning time order. That is, in the order in which things have happened. So when we talk about a narrative paragraph, we are referring to two main things. The first thing, using the phrase of time and place. The second, when and where the events happen. So what are we talking about here exactly? We're discussing the time order, so we use the phrase of time, and the order in which things have happened. So we're talking about the place, the when, and the where. Things happen to a person's life or social events. So, what is a narrative paragraph? Let's repeat. Narrative paragraphs tells a story or an event of a person's life. It could be in a form of a tale or a novel, discussing one's life and social events. The story or events in a narrative paragraph should be arranged in a chronological order, that is, in the order in which things have happened. So 1 and 2. Is it clear now? Okay, let's move on. Okay, now let's read the following email together. What does Maria tell her friend about her day? I will give you 2 minutes to read this email. Okay, the 2 minutes are up. Let's read the email all together. Hi Sarah, it was great to hear from you. It's been a long since I saw you. It sounds like everything is going well. You asked how am I doing at work? Well, guess what happened today? In the morning, the first thing that happened was that my coworker Jack called in sick. So I had to work alone at the required documents. Then my boss Lisa called me around 11ish. She asked me to do things for her. We are planning for a big workshop and she wants everything in order. When I got back to my desk, there were so many emails. While I was going through the emails, Jenna walked in close to the break time, asking me for the annual leave forms and her salary details. So I helped her complete her forms. At lunchtime, I was able to get away and relax a little bit. By 4 o'clock, I was pretty tired, and I still had to send the invitations for the workshop event. Not every day is like that though. Today was just one of those days. With regards, Maria. Now, I want you to look closely at the underlined phrases. The underlined phrases presents time and place. In the morning, the first thing that happened, around 11ish, close to the break time, at lunchtime, by 4 o'clock. They were all tackling the place and time. Now, what I want you to do is that I want you to look at the timeline Maria used to plan her email. Now, please answer what happened in each of the following timelines. Also, please make sure that if you need to go back to the previous slide to read the paragraph again, please feel free to do that. You just have to pause the YouTube or the audio and go back to the previous slide. I'll give you 1 minute to answer the following questions. Time is up. Let's discuss the answers. So, if you remember, at around 9 o'clock, Maria found out that her colleague Jack was going to be out, that she had to work all alone. Whereas around 10, Lida needed help in planning her workshop. Around 11ish, Jenna walked in asking for some forms while she was reading her emails. Finally, at lunchtime, she had a little bit of break and she relaxed. And last but not least, around 1ish, she was pretty tired and she still had to send invitations for the workshop event. So, now similarly, when we are going to plan a timeline and write our friends an email about what happened in our day, it is recommended to use a similar timeline. That being said, how about we actually try it in practice? You are going to write an email telling a friend what you did yesterday. Add a timeline to your plan. times, date, places to describe the event. Now, I added the exact same timeline that we used previously for Maria. However, feel free to change the time. So, however, I want the exact same number of events. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 events mentioned in the email. So I want you to mention 5 events. You can play with the time and change it accordingly. I will give you 2 minutes to do this activity, starting from now. Time is up. Now what I want you to do is that I want you to write an email to your friend telling him or her what you did yesterday. Remember to add a timeline to plan your email, which we already did previously, where we mentioned the date, the time, and the places to describe the certain events. So we're talking about this. Okay? Now I want you to make sure that whatever you wrote in your timeline to be included in your email as presented earlier. And also, please make sure to follow the writing checklist. That is, I want you to write between 150 to 180 words. Also, I would like you to add the timeline to the events as presented and discussed earlier. I also want you to apply the punctuation rules. And last and not least, please make sure that you follow the rules and regulations for writing the email. Now I would like you to start writing your email. I'll give you 5 minutes to write your email. If you require more time, please remember that you can pause this video and continue it later. So please start writing your email. time is up. Please make sure that you followed the model presented, and please make sure that you added the timeline plan and that you followed the writing checklist. By that, we came to the end of the lesson. Thank you. See you next time.